Hi, let's do a creepy story today from No Hope Beyond This Point. I'm going to jump to number 5 in my book called The Stall. This one was a favorite of my writers group. They did not appreciate that I wrote this one because I kind of creeped them out for bathrooms afterwards, but how can you not be scared of public bathrooms? And I don't mean like the fact that they're dirty, because I don't know, I don't have a problem with public bathrooms like that. I just mean that they can be kind of creepy sometimes. You don't know who's behind the stall, you don't know if nobody's behind the stall. Going in with people, fine. Using them in general, fine. Going in by myself, they can be kind of scary, you know? Alright. Should I leave the light on? Should I make it spooky? Let's turn the light off. There we go. Okay, the stall. Rhonda enters the bathroom at work. All the stall doors are closed, but it's silent, suggesting she's alone. Rather than tugging on the doors to see if a stall is occupied, she bends over and glances down the row, looking for shoes or shadows, and sees that they're all empty. Straightening up, she heads into the first stall, as she often does, out of convenience and habit. The hinges give a slight screech as she pushes the door open, and another when she shoves it closed. While she sits on the toilet, Rhonda's eyes flit around the compact area, taking in her surroundings. The latch is askew, but still works, so she dismisses it, and there are small chips in the paint on the back of the door. She lets her eyes travel upward. There are no lights above her, just a dusty vent. The lights are above the sinks, and the stall next to hers. Rhonda scans back down to the wall at her side. The only writing on there is a small sign saying, "Do not flush trash down the toilet. Place it here." An arrow points to a small trash can on the floor. That's when Rhonda sees the side of a shoe in the next stall. She tenses up for a moment, trying to recall if she heard someone come in, but can't. The shoe is worn, the color mostly faded, and a barely legible word is stitched on the side. It's definitely seen better days, Rhonda thinks. And what brand is that? I've never seen it before. Sample? Staple? The shadow by the shoe never moves. Rhonda pushes aside the eerie feeling it gives her. She needs to get going. Grabbing some toilet paper, she finishes up, flushes, and heads to the sinks to wash her hands. She turns to the paper towel dispenser and dries her hands off. Rhonda glances back towards the stalls, but can't see anything from this angle. She frowns. I don't hear anything now either, but maybe she's just quiet, she considers. Throwing the paper towel away, Rhonda leaves the restroom, letting the incident fade from memory as she gets on with her day. A few days pass before Rhonda finds herself alone in a public restroom again. She's out picking up a few items when the urge to go hits her. Once in the bathroom, she heads straight for the first stall, but an out of order sign is taped to it. She backs up and heads for her second choice, the stall at the end. As she passes by the 2 middle stalls, she notices the doors are ajar. Rhonda slips into the last one, latches the door, and sits to pee. There are scuff marks on the tiles and an extra roll of toilet paper on top of the dispenser. In one of the corners, she spies a plunger and hopes that it's not an omen saying this toilet is broken. That'd be my luck, Rhonda chuckles to herself. As soon as she's done, she reaches towards the toilet paper, which, in this larger stall, is inconveniently located on the far wall. She freezes with her arm outstretched, her fingers inches away from their destination. She finds it hard to draw in a breath. This time Rhonda knows no one came in after her. She would have heard something in the silence, but she didn't. And there is no denying the shoe in the next stall, worn and faded, with a word stitched on the side. An S and P barely visible. The shadow next door shifts slightly, and Rhonda quickly snatches some toilet paper. From this distance and angle, she can almost see both shoes and part of the frayed pant cuffs just above them. She wipes, flushes, and adjusts her clothes, all while staring at the shoes. She refuses to let them leave her sight until she feels ready to exit. Rhonda keeps her back to the wall, hoping to catch a glimpse of the shoes as she starts to make her way past the stall next to hers, but stops. She's momentarily disoriented by the half-open stall door. It's unoccupied. She's sure of it. She pushes the door open to double check. There are no shoes, no person, no anything out of the ordinary. Rhonda looks back into the stall she just vacated. It's still empty. She goes down the line, pushing the doors open. Empty, empty, and out of order. She has to know if this one is empty too, so she bends over to look inside. The floor is bare but dirty. Rhonda stands up. She glances towards the sinks and sees that no one's there either. Feeling confused, she stays rooted in her spot. The bathroom door opens as a woman pushes inside. She nearly smacks into Rhonda. "Oh, excuse me," the startled woman says, giving Rhonda a sideways glance as she moves around her. "It's all right," Rhonda mutters, moving to the sinks to wash her hands. She hears the woman go down the aisle and choose a stall. Rhonda dries her hands, but curiosity makes her look to see which stall the woman chose. The third one down. The one that had the shoes. Carefully, Rhonda leans down to peek at the woman's footwear. She breathes a sigh of relief when black flats come into view. Those aren't the same ones, she tells herself, standing back up. She drops her paper towel into the trash and leaves, feeling ridiculous. For the next week, Rhonda can't help but feel jittery every time she enters a public bathroom. At work, she's been using the personal one up front, rather than risking being alone in the ones by the break room. After a week goes by with no strange occurrences, she starts to think it was all in her head. She begins to force herself to use the bathroom she normally would, whether at work or out shopping. Nothing strange happens, and life moves on. "It's not fair most of the building took the day off," Rhonda grumbles, pushing into the bathroom. "How does everyone seem to have so much vacation time?" She sits down in the first stall, the latch still askew, and lets out a sigh. Wait, was I just complaining out loud, she worries. Feeling self-conscious, Rhonda holds her breath for a moment, wondering if someone else is in here. She listens and glances down. All clear. She lets her breath out and chuckles a little at her own behavior. Relaxing, she goes back to the task at hand. With nothing much to do, she takes in the sounds around her. Rhonda hears the drip, drip, drip of water in the sink, and the soft hum of the vent kicking on. Otherwise, it's silent in the bathroom. She finishes her business, straightens her clothes, and flushes. Her hand reaches for the latch when she hears the squeak of rubber soles on tile coming from beside her. Rhonda pauses for a moment, standing there uncertainly, her heartbeat picking up speed. She never heard the door open. It might be a soft swoosh, but it's unmistakable. And with how quiet it is, she would have heard something. She slowly stoops and glances down, looking for a telltale sign that she's not alone, but doesn't see anything. Straightening up, she hears the noise again. It's from the stall next to hers. Her eyes go back to the floor. She doesn't see any shoes or shadow, but she does hear the gentle sound of clothes moving. There's no one there. You checked. Just leave. You're done anyways, she tells herself, but doesn't move. Instead, she holds her breath again, straining her ears, trying to make sure she really heard something. But she doesn't hear anything now. No breathing, no shuffling, no one grabbing for toilet paper. And just when she convinces herself it was nothing, she hears an audible exhale. And it wasn't her. Rhonda flinches and lets out a shaky breath. Now she does see a shadow on the floor. It seems to grow a little larger before it moves. A shoe comes into view, one she'd recognize anywhere. And while she still can't tell what color they used to be, she can read the writing now. Simple. She quickly releases the latch and jerks the door open, but stops abruptly. There, in front of her, is the occupant of the other stall. I never heard her move. Forgetting she has nowhere to go, Rhonda backs up. Her calves hit the toilet seat and she lets out a stifled yell. Her eyes widen as the thing in front of her scuffles forward, a fleshless hand reaching towards her. Rhonda screams. All that is left of her is a smear of blood on a stall door, where inside, an occupant in worn shoes awaits another visitor. Hope you liked that story. It took many takes because while I can write, I cannot read. So, yeah. See you in 2 weeks.